Hello everyone, I'm going to go through a quick video here of loading this other recipe that Hodgdon has on its website for HS6 with a WWA12 wad, 38 grains of HS6. They say it creates 9800 psi, 1550 velocity. So I have another video with the same load, except we use the WA12R wad, 33.5 grains. You can kind of see the difference in the wad, and if you recall, if you've seen that video, we had to build up the column a little bit. So this WWA12 replacement is a little bit taller. It's about at least a 1/4 inch taller. So we'll get that set up. And the other thing I want to tell you guys is I started loading right now. I'm going to tell you how long it takes me to load 10 shells using my 2 scales. I have the Lyman Micro Touch, but I also like to check with my RCBS M500, because I've noticed this with digital scales. Sometimes they drift. This one drifts a little bit. My table here isn't exactly level, but I have the RCBS and it has a leveling leg on it, so that is very, very accurate. That have watched my other videos, you know, first thing I do is I'll wipe down my shells. This is the Lee Load-All. We'll put the sizing ring on, and then we'll pop primer off and make sure that resizer is all the way down. You want to make sure it's riding right on the lip. Pop that into the primer hole. A lot of people talk bad about the Lee Load-All. I find that for slugs it works very well for what I need it to do. If you're using the shot container and all that, yeah, I think it's going to give you a little bit of problem. One thing that I don't like that the MEC Junior has, the Mech Junior and the Mech machines, is I wish I could be able to set the crimp at the top, because sometimes I've noticed the rounds get a little bit of it would be nice to have a way to flare the tops of them for semi-auto loading. So that would be my complaint with being primarily a slug use and buckshot use with this thing, is that there was a way to adjust the crimp. But for $50 or $60 for a Lee Load-All, it's going to do a lot, I think. And especially if you're not sure if you want to get into reloading, you can start with a Lee Load-All. You can always sell it. You can always, they're very compact, they're easy to store. So I think it's a good machine, although for people that reload a lot of shot shells specifically, then I think it may not be the best for that use. A little cheat sheet here, 2 3/4 Win HS WWA12 Claybuster replacement wad, HS6, 38 grains, Winchester 209 primer, 7/8 Lee slug, 9800 psi, 1550 feet per second is what Hodgdon says. So we'll get over here with our powder weighing. I use both of these, and I can work on 2 charges at a time, and then I can check the digital charge on the beam scale. So that works for me reasonably well. It's not as slow as just using the beam scale, waiting for it to sway, and I'm not relying 100% on the accuracy of the digital scale. So what I try to do is I'll weigh out a charge and then eyeball how much it fills with this Lee Universal Dipper, and then just work from there. And I'll tell you at the end of this how long it took me to load all these. For loading safety, I have my empty holes here and my filled holes here. So what I'll do is when I fill one, I like to put it as far away as possible, so that way the risk of a double charge is even less. Got our powder measured. Got a bag here of the wads. I put a little bit of the BPI Mica wad slick in there. Helps with the separation of the slug from the wad. So the next thing we're going to do is try to figure out where our wad column is going to crimp. So we'll get one of these wads put in. I got the wad in there. Just make sure, press it down a little bit, make sure it's got good tension against the tension against the powder. Here's the Lee 7A drive slug. And at the very least, we want to put a mini nitro card or equivalent in the wad. That helps with the accuracy of the key drive, so put that in there. Looks like it's going to be pretty good like that. So the way that we crimp with the Lee Load-All, you may have seen these in my other videos, but you line up the crimp. This is an 8-point crimp, so you line up the line there with where you're standing directly perpendicular to the Load-All, and then just even pressure. Make sure you get to the bottom of the stroke. That's what it should look like. Then we'll come over to the finisher. Oh, that's a beauty. Oh, look at that. Perfect crimp. So that really lined up well. We don't need to modify the column anymore. There's no bulging of the wad. This is a winner, folks. Couple notes here. I did get one where I pushed in the wad too much, and that was by putting the slug into the wad before I pushed it in, or putting it together and then pushing it in through. So that's no big deal. So what I've been doing, push the wad, there's the wad in there, take the nitro 20 gauge nitro card, take the slug and just push it in, finger, make sure it hits the bottom there, and then come over to the crimper, line it up. The line is where you're standing. And then on some of these I've been about a 64th of an inch away from the bottom. I just noticed that if I pushed way too hard, that I got a line on one of them. So no big deal there, but that's where the wad is bunching up, pushing against the hull, and then getting that top pressure on there is causing that little line. So avoiding that by just not putting a ton of pressure at the very end, but they came out very, very nice. So it is now, it's taken me about 20 minutes to load 10 slugs. So pretty good time there. And I was making a video. Let me know if you guys have questions. Please like and subscribe. We'll go out and shoot these.